How's it going, guys? Awesome Mayo here with BigReia, the American Real Estate Investor Association, BigReia.com, and welcome to our official YouTube channel. This channel is about building a business in real estate that creates income ascension for you and your family. This is the only training in the world that will teach you exactly how to, step by step, how to build a business in real estate that makes you a net income of at least $5,000 a week for the rest of your life. With no money, no loans, no banks, no credit checks, none of that stuff, and eventually without leaving your house from anywhere in the world. And a business that will eventually run with a single conference call once a week, and then not even that. You'll slowly be subtracted from your business as it not just runs, but it grows without you. And it runs totally autonomous. Building a business like that is not a talent, it is a skill, and I have obsessed over not just building that skill, but being able to teach it and create predictable results. So that's what me and my friends do, and if that's what you want to know, then you are in the right place. Now I want you to do something. I want you to try a little experiment here, a little mental thought experiment. I want you to think of a kid that you grew up with that had money. One of those rich kids, somebody you went to school with that had money, and I want you to think of that rich kid, that kid with money, and then I want you to think about the other extreme, the other side of the coin, somebody on the other end of the money scale, and then pick a few kids in between, and now ask yourself this: where are those kids now? As adults, where are they? Maybe you look them up or something, do some harmless stalking on Facebook if necessary, but you should really do this. Do a little research for yourself, because what you'll find is that in nearly every single case, those kids are in exactly the same financial situation, the exact same income class. It hasn't changed. People almost never change their income class, and that's my point. Creating social mobility or income ascension is almost impossible, and even in America, it almost never happens. In fact, you'll be hard-pressed to think of a single person that you've ever met in your life that was born into one income class, and at any point in their life, they were able to build themselves up into a higher income class, and they stayed there long enough for them to have kids. Like they stayed there for the next generation to benefit from that higher income class. It almost never happens. And in the few cases that it does, it usually takes going to school, going to college for over a decade to become a surgeon or something like that. Or they get lucky and become a celebrity and hit it big like Tupac or Michael Jordan or Tom Cruise or something like that. But for ordinary people, but in general, it almost never happens. The only people that do this, the only people that create income ascension are those foreigners, because they're hungry. And that's really what you want. You want to have that kind of income ascension. Well, stand back, you foreigners, because BigReia is here to help change that. Right? Right. Okay. See, it's not good enough to just do deals or just make some money. You have to create a regular, predictable income that is growing. That income is growing. It's a growing income. And that income requires less and less input from you to the point where you eventually do nothing as your business grows without you. That's what you need. That's what you want. That's what you need. You shouldn't focus on anything else, anything less than that, because it's not really worth your time to do that. People always tell me, oh, I'm trying to do deals. I'm trying to buy a house. It doesn't really matter how much money you make on a deal unless you know how to recreate it and how to create that result predictably. Not understanding this is what drives so many real estate investors out of business, or why they're really never in business to begin with. They're basically out of business until their next closing. You do not want that. You want to build a business. Making money in real estate is a completely different skill set than building a business that makes money in real estate. Again, you want that business to not just run, but to grow without you, that income to grow without you, subtractively and then autonomously. Now, I suggest using real estate as the punching bag to build your skill. And then once you do it with real estate, you can buy and sell any type of business that you want. I've been working with and training real estate investors and agents and people in real estate for years and years and years. My friends and I, we buy and sell companies in real estate. We've done thousands of deals in over 10 countries, and now for fun, we teach and train other people to do the same thing. And I'll tell you all about my crazy story later. For right now, what's really important is that you know that on our team, we have built encyclopedias of success stories and testimonials from around the world. That's the most important thing here. It's not important what I've done for myself. It's what I've done for others, not just what I've done for me, and not just what my team and what our people have done for themselves, but what we do for others. And that really is the driving force behind everything that we do. There's about 7 billion people alive today, and in the history of our planet, there have been about 110 billion people total that have ever lived on Earth. And everything that has ever happened has led us to this point right now. We stand as the luckiest 5% of people to have ever lived. We sit on a mountain of benefit and privilege because every compounded improvement throughout humanity, every micro improvement and macro improvement that humanity and mankind has ever made, all of that benefit of humanity, we get the fruits of all their labor. And that's part of the reason that we right now today are the best, nicest, most loving, caring, and compassionate version of humanity to ever populate the planet. Anybody that says otherwise is trying to sell you something. And if you think otherwise, it's because you watch the news. They've sold you the worst thing ever: pessimism and discouragement. The fact is, we have never been better. As human beings, we have never been better. This is the best iteration of mankind ever. You and I have this glorious moment of time, this tiny snapshot, your lifetime. In the big scheme of things, of the hundreds of thousands of years of documented history that we have, the 110 billion people have been here, your lifetime, my lifetime is a tiny snapshot. But we're lucky enough to be dancing in this brilliant time together. And your lifetime, as short as it is, when it's over, what will really matter more than anything else between this day and your last day, what really matters, if you think about it, you ultimately come to the same conclusion that almost everybody does. Your life is measured by what you have done for others. And that's what our stuff is all about. Right now is the single greatest time to be alive. Everybody has brilliance in that. And there's never been a time where it has been easier to shine that brilliance and help the world in a way that you were meant to. There's no other time in history where you as an individual have had so much power that you can nearly single-handedly help solve the world's challenges. I can give you so many examples of people on our team and our students and our clients that are doing that. I'll get into that stuff more later. But this is like a driving force behind everything that we do. This is about a lot more than just real estate or making money in real estate. It's using that as a tool, using this real estate and your business building skill as a tool. First, you do it to buy back your time, and you do that so that you can spend time improving the world. I'm not interested in helping people make money and do nothing but sit on a beach all day or retire early or waste time going on vacation or traveling or doing all kinds of silly nonsensical stuff. That's not of interest to me. And it's really not of interest to you too. The people that use that as their motivation, they don't do anything. It's like the people that want to get a six-pack so they can eat ice cream all day. It ain't gonna happen. I want to help you get obsessed about your passion and improving the world with the time that you have left. That's the goal, really, to get what we call Olympian obsession. Here's what I mean. One of our students, Elaine, just worked with Bishop Curry. Now, Bishop heard on the news that a 6-month-old baby had died after being left alone in a hot car. And he heard that and he was heartbroken. So he came up with a device that would attach to the car seat and detect if a child or animal was in the car, and then it would text the owner and then eventually the police if there was no response. It can also connect to the car wirelessly and start blowing cool air through the vents. He called this invention the Oasis. What a brilliant idea, right? And overnight he raised over $50,000 in crowdfunding. That's where Elaine had helped him get that money. But here's the crazy part. Bishop Curry is 10 years old. That's the world we live in right now. You see a problem, and right now you as an individual, even a 10-year-old, has the power to change and shape it. And I can go over, that's just one example. I can go over hundreds more, and I do. But really the overall point is that the advancements that we have right now in robotics and AI, synthetic engineering, cloud computing, crowdfunding, education platforms like Khan Academy that are changing the world, energy breakthroughs with solar cryptocurrencies that will take power away from governments and reduce the impact of corruption worldwide. It's already happening all over the place. A third of the people in Kenya, for example, have a crypto account, have a Bitcoin or a similar account. It's changing everything. And as the world gets more and more connected, we have right now the biggest, most educated, compassionate, and globally connected generation ever is now upon us, the millennials. And the group after them, the Generation Z. This is that big, the baby boomer generation was the biggest generation ever. That was that basketball through that garden hose. And they shaped every generation that they went through. This generation right now is even bigger than the baby boomer generation. It's the biggest generation ever. It's not a basketball through a garden hose. It's a beach ball through a garden hose. And when you think about the contributions and the improvements that they're bringing to the table, it's only going to get better. And it's why it's so important that you and me focus on improving the world and helping people, understanding how lucky we are, and understanding that really this luck, this benefit that we get comes with a responsibility, not an entitlement. We have a responsibility to do more because we've been given more. We need to give more. This is an amazing time to be alive. I know some people will doubt what I'm saying, by the way. I know people will hear this and think, oh, that's, I get that. I know. So to the people who will hear what I'm saying and doubt what I'm saying or think that I'm being a little bit, my head's in the clouds type of thing, let me say this. I would say to you, I've had this conversation a few times, and I would just hear a couple things that you should know. For a number of years, I worked in the intelligence community, something that you'll hear more about later. And part of my training when I started during that process was to learn to resist being tortured. And there really is no shortcut to developing that skill. You basically get tortured by experts, and they help you build your tolerance over time so that you become better and better at resisting torture, and you learn the process so that eventually you, having been trained the worst and most rigorous way possible, you now do the same thing to other trainees. It's a lot of fun, let me tell you. Here's my point though. Here's why I'm saying that. When people say to me, or when people hear me say about how great the world is, that the world is better, not worse, that people are good, not bad, and that all the evil in the world is outnumbered by a factor of millions with all the love. When I talk like that, people sometimes may think that I'm being naive or idealistic, or maybe I don't know how the world works. Well, to those people, I would say that when I was growing up in elementary school, I once went to 9 schools in 5 countries in 2 school years. As a child, I spoke 4 languages naturally, and I'm a professionally trained torturer. Here's my point. My point is that if my life has been sheltered, I'd love to hear about yours. The conclusions I've come to aren't from a lack of perspective, but just the opposite. The broader perspective you have, the better of a person you are. The time is now. Today is the day. The world is the best that it has ever been, and it's never been easier for a single person armed with just one idea and a little ambition and gratitude. It's never been easier for you to make a dramatic improvement in the world. And the people that are going to shape tomorrow, it's not the politicians or celebrities or governments, it's the entrepreneurs, people like you and me. So have pride that you're in that tiny 5% of the population that will ever start a business that supports them or makes them any money. You are in that elite group of entrepreneurs, of people who want to improve their financial situation and believe they can do it. Most people just bitch and whine about it. You're actually doing something about it. I admire you, and I want to show my gratitude and appreciation for you in this way. I'll show you exactly exactly how to build a real estate business, how to buy back your time so that you can make the changes in the world that you want to see, so that you can help the causes that you care about, so that you can live in your zone of brilliance and do what you were meant to do. Now is a time to pursue your dreams with absolutely no second guessing, no restraint, no conservatism, no hesitation, and absolutely no subtlety. You should pursue opportunity with all the grace of a falling axe. You know what I'm saying? You got to get into it. Get your real estate business going. The reason why you're not doing this stuff is because you don't have money. I ask people again and again. It's because they have a job. They wake up and they go to a job. They go to a job because they don't have that 10 to 30 grand a month. How different would your life be if you did have that? It's not that difficult. And again, you're not going to hear me brag about how much money I'm making or what I'm doing. I always point to students. I always brag about students and what other people are doing with our stuff, because anybody can do this stuff. It's not that difficult. You don't need money to get in real estate. You don't need experience. You don't need to know how to do deals or good credit or loans or any of that stuff. None of it. You can build a business from scratch with nothing but your skill. And that's what I'll help you build. So go through our stuff here. Go through our Real Estate Investing for Beginners playlist. You can also get a bunch of free stuff at BigReia.com. And also, if you're sure this is for you, if you're sure you're part of this army, then subscribe and hit that like button. Share this with anybody you think would benefit from it and that would be helped. I'd really appreciate it. All right, then, brothers and sisters, let's make the universe smile with love. Talk soon. Thank you so much.